Sing Meloetta, a Pokemon creepypasta, created by Fur-Bearing Brick. This is a warning. If I had known that day what was going to happen, I would have turned back. But I didn't know, and for me that day started off happy. It was the day my action replay arrived. I had spent months soft resetting on my Pokemon White for a shiny Kyurem, and I had finally caved into the pressure and bought an action replay code from a seller on TradeMe. It arrived in a box with badly drawn and incorrectly colored Pokemon on the box, and thankfully came with most of the major cheats already on it, so I didn't have to enter them by hand. After finally pinning down Kyurem, I found that the action replay also came with codes to generate legendaries. I caught shiny Victini, Keldeo, Genesect, and Reshiram with no problem. But after catching a shiny Meloetta, the game glitched at the capture screen, so the top half of the sprite was in its shiny area form, and the bottom half was in its normal pirouette form. Irritated at having to recatch all of my shiny legendaries again since I kept forgetting to save, I had to restart my game. That's when things got really weird. When the game restarted, I was back on the same route I had started with before the glitch. My party was also exactly the same prior to the glitch. Wait, except for one small difference. The shiny Meloetta was now in the first in my party, and it appeared to have a nickname, Siren, with the I in Siren being replaced with a music note. I didn't think much of it. I spent a few minutes after the glitch furiously button mashing, hoping for an outcome, so it was possible I entered something, but the real problem began when I first sent Siren out to battle. First of all, Meloetta's cry seemed to distort and stretch, running for longer until the sparkles that showed it was shiny made no sound. Then, before I even pressed an action, Siren used Sing. After the wild Woobat fell into its slumber, the dialogue box came up and said,
"The wild Woobat has been snared. The wild Woobat has joined the party."
After that, the game played the fainting animation. A bit disturbed, I quickly flew to a different city and went to the Poké Center to deposit Siren. Going to my box where I keep my legendaries, I deposited Siren and replaced it with a Pawniard I was going to evolve into a Bisharp, only to find that when I checked my party that Siren was still in the front. I checked the Pokemon data for the first time only to see that instead of my trainer ID, it said in upside down letters, Ulysses. I freaked out. This must have been some Pokesav cheat that messed up and broke the entire game. I reset, and when the game loaded, I was back in the giant chasm, but in a battle with Kyurem. Confused, I watched the Siren went into the battle. Her normal cry somehow merged with the tune of Sing. The message box came up again.
"The wild Kyurem has been snared. The wild Kyurem has swallowed it."
Then the screen blacked out. After a pause of a few seconds, the screen reloaded to show the giant chasm with a shiny Meloetta sprite following behind my trainer, just like in Soul Silver. I reset the game one last time. This time, it reloaded back in En's castle during the start of the battle. The End sprite appeared on the screen and started to move back to send out Reshiram when the sprite suddenly froze. My trainer sprite appeared on the screen, sending out a Pokeball that I instantly knew contained Siren. This time, her cry was longer and deeper and seemed painfully drawn out, ending with the first few notes of Sing. The message showed up.
"The wild N has been snared. The wild N will follow."
Desperately, I restarted the game again and completely deleted the save file to start a new game. After lazily skipping through the tutorial, it loaded as the little black trainer sprite alone in his room. The box containing the 3 starter Pokemon was gone. A message came up on the bottom of the screen.
"When will you love me?"
I brought up the party screen to find it contained Woobat, shiny Kyurem, and a blurry overworld sprite of N. Another dialogue box came up.
"See, all of your friends like me."
I tried turning off the game, but the screen flickered back on.
"Why do you want to run?"
The box now said.
"I love you."
Suddenly, the screen began to flash and the battle sequence started. The shiny Meloetta sprite appeared but strangely twisted. The face was horribly blank, smoothed over skin with the merest dents for eyes and a red lipstick-lined mouth and a wide grin. In place of the gemstone around the middle was a gaping hole straight through to the other side. The bottom of the dress curled upwards in pirouette form past the teal of Ariaform's hair. Siren's mouth opened wide, wider than possible, showing red-stained teeth as it bobbed and swayed with the motions of a normal Meloetta sprite. The black trainer sprite appeared on screen, then froze. A message box appeared.
"Siren used Sing."
The lullaby-like notes of Sing began to play from the speakers, a full tune instead of the simple first bar it normally is. Despite myself, I began to feel sleepy. A last dialogue box showed up on the screen, flicker on and off with the letters blurring and unblurring.
"Trainer has been snared. Will trainer follow?"
I was scared and I wanted out, so I quickly hit no. The screen shook.
"Siren is angry."
The trainer sprite fell away like it had fainted.
"Siren used hypervoice. Siren wants you to follow.
Out of the blue, a violent sound burst from the speakers, a mixture of metal sound and screech. I dropped the DS, but the sound continued, the screen zooming in on Siren's eyeless face until skin split and Siren's eyes were glaring directly at me. One red, one green, with pupils like black holes, drawing me in. I think I must have blacked out then, because the next thing I remember, I was asleep on my bed with my DS on, and running low on charge next to my face. Everything seemed like my old save file. All of my Pokemon saved in their PC box with a sprite of a shiny Meloetta on the screen, with a simple message on the screen.
Siren has been released. Thank you, trainer.
That should have been the end of it. There was no sign in my game that Siren had ever existed. Meloetta wasn't even registered in my Pokedex, but still I feel strange. In school I found myself humming an unfamiliar tune. I don't remember sleeping, and when I turn my head I can see a flash of black and green like some reflected light in the corner of my eye. I'm scared. Siren was released, right? That was Sing Meloetta, a Pokemon creepypasta created by Fur-Bearing Brick. My final thoughts on the story? I know at face value, literally from beginning to end of the story, it does seem like the generic cliche-filled Pokemon creepypasta, but there honestly is a hidden message in it if you just manage to look at it close enough. I know obviously the Meloetta is named Siren, but also think back to when the trainer card said Ulysses. Now, if you don't know who Ulysses is, it's apparently the Roman name for Odysseus, who is a part of this poem known as the Odyssey. Now, if you don't know about the Odyssey, this was like a classic, like an old poem back all the way in like, Greek mythology and stuff like that. And I will tell you, I may not know much about it. I'm going to honestly say history and poem stuff like that was not my greatest suit. However, a fun fact about the Odyssey was that apparently one of Odysseus's, obstacles that I had to go through were sirens. And if you don't know what sirens are, they're basically the equivalent of, trickster like mermaids that try to entice people with their songs and singing, and that's when they get them. Basically, they're secret monsters that try and disguise themselves as these beautiful-looking women, and that's how they get a lot of people, specifically people who sail overseas, and end up killing, eating, or whatever they do to their bodies. Which is actually pretty interesting when you compare that to the story. It's like the protagonist was basically this story's Ulysses, and wow, it's kind of strange to call him that because he's basically a gamer, but the Meloetta were the sirens of the story. Now, it is still, have its cliches, plumbing, oh, the video game can connect with me in real life, I bought it from a shady seller, the game still haunts me even after this day, because I can still hear the song, and I can potentially still see the entity of this Meloetta that's still following me. But still, I still think it's a pretty enjoyable read, especially when you can envision, what the actual author is going through, or the person, the protagonist of the story, what they're going through. Just hearing all those terrible sounds, and especially something that interested me was when they heard the extended version of Sing, which was pretty interesting because I just assumed, well, Sing is just, a standalone sound effect. It's just a couple notes and that's it. But apparently, imagine if Sing was actually a full-fledged song and we never got to listen to it, because if we actually listened to it, we would end up falling asleep. It'd kind of be, another version of Jigglypuff. But honestly, what do you guys think? I'm going to leave a link down to this, in the description, or a link to the story if you want to read it. And also, last but certainly not least, before I do my outro, I need to give a huge thank you to, my girlfriend, Spinsy Kinsey, for voicing both the game and also Siren in the story. Apparently I was going to do this solo, but she said she wanted in, so I decided to put her in it. And I hope she did well. I hope you guys at least think she did well. I think she did amazing. But still, do you think the story is good? Do you think the story is bad? Feel free to let me know in the comment section below. But with that being said, if you did enjoy this video, then please be sure to leave a like on it, and also share with your friends more, Pokemon, horror story, or creepypasta content. And if you enjoy my content in general, why not subscribe to my YouTube channel? And if you haven't yet, or you want to, hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button to receive all my notifications on this YouTube channel in the near future. And last but certainly not least, why not check out my merchandise in the description? I'm not forcing you to buy anything, I'm just saying there might be something interesting in the shop that you might be interested in. But above all else, I will see you entities and guardians in the next video. Hail the Hypenese!